folks. Thanks for tuning in. It's the 1st of February. It's just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, UK time. Nice to see you, and it's nice to see more people watching. Uh, Feel free to throw in a comment, whether you agree with me or not, or whether you think I'm a daft old idiot. Just throw a comment in because it's nice to know who I'm communicating with. Um, Today, there's quite a number of truthers out there, and there's a lot of hype about um, extraterrestrial beings, ships, various other things. It's difficult to call them aliens now because we're calling illegal aliens people who come in from abroad without the appropriate paperwork. So we no longer call them aliens. So, for want of a better word, I'll call them extraterrestrials or ETs or whatever. And there's a lot of hype about this just now. Some folk are getting really excited about it because it's going to happen, because this truther said it and that truther said it, and there's a lot of new technology and so on. What were the drones that have been spotted, and I just wanted to obviously give my opinion. You know what I'm like for giving my opinion. I just wanted to give you my opinion, and I'm really calm about it. Not because I don't think there are such things, but because until one comes and shakes my hand, then I, I'm just waiting. Um, a lot of people have shared their experiences with extraterrestrial, and we know fine well that there's been a couple who have even been through the courts showing that they've just made the whole story up. And that makes it really difficult for people. And well, every time somebody makes up a story, it makes it really difficult for the truth to come out because it muddies the waters, as they say. I personally have only had one experience where I am convinced, rightly or wrongly, convinced that it was some sort of extraterrestrial ship. And it must have been the equinox, the autumn equinox, September 2021, I think. And there was a lovely woman who had, she always celebrated the quarter days and important sort of pagan days, whatever you want to call them. Um, she had a fire pit, and she had a beautiful ring of stones, huge thing that she used for during the celebration, indicating the four elements, the four directions, and so on. And we would gather there. It was a free for all. She had open house, well, not house, open space, and it was all very pleasant. And that particular time, we had gathered, and it was a beautiful. This was down in Cornwall, not far from St Ives in Cornwall. Um, and very open country space, very low light pollution. And while everybody else was reading poems and various other things, I just remember looking up and it was so clear. And as I say, very low light pollution. And I cottoned on to this thing, doing a zigzag pattern, slow for the height. I mean, it looked way up, 40,000 feet where you might see planes going by. But the fact that this was doing a very obvious zigzag pattern, and it seemed to take for ages to cross the space. And but because there was poetry readings and various other things, I wasn't going to talk over it and say to somebody, "Oh, look at that." I don't do these sort of things, but I looked at it for quite some time, standing there. So that's the only time I could honestly say that I think I've come across such things. Um, Whether it was or whether there was another reason for it, I don't know. But I'm happy to say that that possibly was. And that's where I am. Do I believe it? Do I believe in extraterrestrials? I mean, some folk believe they're walking about us, but camouflaged or in a skin where we don't identify them as something different. And maybe that's true. But where I am with all of this is keeping an open mind. And I think that's the point I wanted to make, in that as far as drones, and every time something like that happens, I genuinely believe that we have technology that the vast majority of us don't know about. We're already using technology way above what has become public knowledge. Therefore, when we see something strange, it's not that unusual that it might actually be Earth technology that we haven't come across yet. An example of that, or just the other day, with that horrendous Black Hawk helicopter and the jet collision landing in the Potomac River just a couple of days ago. My automatic reaction was that the helicopter had been remote driven. I didn't even know whether that was possible or not for such a size of um, a, a helicopter. But just the whole thing just seemed to me to be deliberate, and I, you wouldn't imagine people taking on the role of piloting that deliberately, and causing, it's one thing to, in effect, a suicide bomber, but it's another thing doing a suicide and taking out another airplane. So, yeah, being a conspiracy theorist, and I suppose we all are that tune into our channels, um, yeah, I had already decided. But then, a couple of days later, somebody showed a bit of video where, from, I think, last year or a couple of years back, where experimental remote driven Black Hawks were actually part of the military. So, all I'm saying is, I'm not going to bring this topic up for a discussion. What I'm saying there is that I genuinely believe we have technology that the vast majority of us don't know about. So every time we see something weird, we think, must be extraterrestrials. I will welcome them. I am not going to be afraid of them. And I think this is something else that gets to me, is that we're all going, oh no, they've come in here to kill us all. I don't know that they are. So again, it's down to taking one day at a time, keeping an open mind, welcoming everybody until they do us ill, and live, love, and be happy. Thanks very much for tuning in. As I say, you agree with me, don't agree with me, throw in a comment, because it helps keep me going. Anyway, bye folks. Thanks very much.